Republican Mayor Dale Ross was at Bernie Sanders' climate change town hall recently, and he has an incredible story that I have to share with you. Check this out.
This just proves Republicans can do environmentally friendly things as well as Democrats.
How do the people in the community feel about the fact that you're 100% sustainable?
Initially, there was a little resistance, but it's too good to be true. We are at a tipping point right now where it's all about cost. And I just said, well, let's just take a look at it for a year, and you tell me if your utility bill goes up or not. And then let's take a look at it in the second year and tell me. And so through education, people have supported it.
What this Republican mayor is telling you is if you want affordable electric bills, think hard about moving to sustainable energy.
Not only is it the right thing to do, it's economically the right thing to do, and it's the future. But up in Amarillo, where our wind farm is, there's 97 turbines. And the vast majority of the folks up there on that wind farm, they were in the oil patch. And they like this. It's better pay. It's cleaner work. And like the guy told me, he says, hey, I'm 35. I'm going to retire as a technician out here because I really like my work, and it's going to be there, I think, forever. But I think the whole key to our city is because we don't really base our decisions based on partisan politics. We base them based on the facts and what's good for the citizens we were elected to serve. And so I trust the scientists in their field versus somebody that really doesn't have any education or expertise in climate change. If you're going to run for office, you need to make that argument.
One of the points we want to make is obviously the main issue is saving the planet. Nothing more important than that. But we are also talking about the ability to create millions of jobs. And in my view, over a period of time, we have the capability of lowering utility costs in America. And I think we have the opportunity as we transition away from fossil fuel to stabilize and lower that.
It's all about leaving something better than you found it. And I think we're on the path in Georgetown to making that happen.
Man, I absolutely love that story. That goes to show you that all of the fear-mongering tactics used against people fighting for renewable energy, green technology, a Green New Deal, it's all shitty propaganda because, as you saw there, this isn't just a win in terms of let's fight climate change and let's, do the right thing for future generations and let's save the planet, if you will, as grandiose as that sounds. This is also a win in terms of the basic shit, like let's create more jobs and let's have a better economy. This in a weird way, this reminds me of the marijuana issue, because not only is it the right thing to do from a moral and ethical perspective of, hey, maybe we shouldn't have ruined people's lives over non-violent drug offenses, it's also like, oh, by the way, we'll create hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of jobs in a booming marijuana industry if we just legalize recreational marijuana. So it's good for jobs. Another weird thing that that the right should support it for is that it actually decreases state deficits. That's something that we've seen with the legalization of marijuana. So what you're seeing here is we can get off of our dependence on fossil fuels, which is also a good thing in terms of our relationships around the world. If we get off of our dependence on fossil fuels, then a lot of the shit that we're involved in the Middle East, the quagmires we're involved in, and offensive wars we've started, and trying to, keep our hand on all these places and their natural resources. I mean, that's fucked up in the first place, but you can make it so that powerful people realize we don't even need to do that if they think we need to do it, which we don't, but we don't need to do that at all. I mean, we can have a totally green economy, a renewable economy. And if you thought it wasn't possible, well, how are people already doing it? How are they already doing it? The idea, because that's the argument that's made, is like, wind and solar, it's inefficient forms of energy. I mean, there are places all around the world that are transitioning to it, some places that have effectively transitioned, and now, even in the U.S., there's some places that have done it. So it's not true to say, it can't possibly work. Of course it could work. It is working. So, and that's not me saying, oh, don't look at new forms of technology and, let's only do wind and solar. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we have to get off of fossil fuels. The one that was interesting to me a while ago was thorium. Now, I'm not, just so everybody knows, because there was a story about a thorium car, which that turned out to be bullshit. But in general, thorium, it's called like nuclear technology where there's no risk of a nuclear catastrophe. That's from what I remember reading the articles about it a while ago. That was the argument. Now, I don't know how far along they've gotten with thorium, but even if you don't exhaust that path, there are definitely other ways. And this is, again, you do investment into these industries. Yes, you do it from the government. I'm normally not a fan of subsidies, but when it's a problem like climate change that we're facing, of course I'm in favor of some short-term subsidies in order to create the best technology in order to get us off of fossil fuels, save the planet, and create more jobs. So that's what you have to do. It's a top-down Green New Deal approach where we really do find a way to address this problem. And there's already Republican governors who are succeeding on this front. So you can't say, it's pie in the sky, we can't do it. It's already being done. And again, if we lead the way, then there's inevitable patents that you can get, which would help the economy even more, help investors even more, private investors, for those people who are, who would only care about it from that perspective. Okay, well, you could have a win on that perspective, a win on the jobs front. It's the common sense thing to do, but Washington drags its feet because they're so hooked on the oil money, fossil fuel money. And that's a damn shame. And we can't afford to have it like that anymore. So great job from Dale Ross, and great job from Bernie bringing this to our attention.